Well, we're here another morning here. This is second day of training. We're teaching these guys how to set up. I'm in my chair, and we're running through the routine. Each guy has already had a chance, but now we're just practicing setup. The setup is key to having a good launch and a good wing. So we want this to be second nature for them. I have a very particular way of setting up that allows you to have a beautiful wing every time, but it also allows you to fix mistakes and catch mistakes with your equipment during setup. So right now we run a little routine here where we just make them start from start to finish just like they're back at home. And this is where we find out how much they retained. So right now he's trying to get his wing set up. He wants to lift it out of that bag first. And this is kind of a slow process, but it's good because when they get back home, they'll know how to do it. We just go over and over and over. We're so repetitious with everything we do. And now he's already picked the heading, which way the wind is coming from. He's going to walk his wing out. That's good. Don't go too far away. I want to keep you where I can see you. There you go. He's finding a split in the wing where the two tips came together. And he's going to run out his lines towards the wind direction. There you go. And we braid our lines up. We don't have tangles in our lines because we braid them up. This is a thing I brought over from skydiving. I was a skydiver for 20 years. And we have them braid the lines up. That way you're not getting tangles. We don't just throw them in the bag like the other guys. They spend a half an hour on the ground trying to get tangles out. We're already in the air. But this is a little routine we put our students through so they can start getting really familiar with the equipment. We make them do it over and over. And they can practice it throughout the day when we're not flying. So right now what he's doing is opening up his wing. He's got his wing laid out. It's all rosetted up there. And right now, when we run out our lines towards the direction of the wind, he's going to just try to establish two sets of lines, one for each side. Okay, so what do you got? So let's look down the center here. What do we got? We got a few twists in it. Now, yeah, don't whip them around too much. Just kind of twist with your hand. Yeah, like that. And just get those twists out right about there. There you go. That one's clear. All right, and twist those out. Yeah, right here. We'll fine-tune it later. When we stretch our lines out, we check our lines. We don't just throw it out there, open the wing up, and go like these other guys. It's why they're having failed launches. We're going to try to get three things in line. The wind, no, I don't ever set that on there. There you go. And the reason he's putting that slack in there, tell me why you're putting that slack in there.
So I can pull the wing out.
Exactly. What would happen if you didn't put slack in there and you left your lines all the way stretched out and then you opened up the wing?
I'd drag the lines in the...
Yeah, you would. You'd tumble the risers and then you get tangles. If you ever get tangles, don't ever take your lines off of those risers. A secret to clearing your lines is just focus on clearing the A lines. So now he's going to pull the tips out. And so what he does is he starts at the edge of the wing instead of reaching through the lines, and he pulls the tip out from underneath the lines. There you go. Just keep working your way down that cell. Look at, always just work your way down the open cells, and it'll bring you right towards the tip. And remember to always just, we're trying to set that wing up so when it does get open, it's going to be heading towards that wind direction that we established. Okay, where are you going? You forgetting something? You're going to pull the other tip out, right? But on the way over there, you want to open your wing up. And we want to get this totally flat because the next step that we do will work better. And we'll show you what that is. And so this is a student doing it rather than watching my video of me doing it. I already know how. But this is what we do when you come in for training. We're going to make you do this over and over. Now, don't start curving in. Just keep going straight so that wing looks like that on the other side. Just go all the way across. Keep walking. There you go. And see that tip's coming out from underneath those lines? You didn't have to reach under there. You never want to pull the wing through the lines because then you got a line over. And then you got a real tangle and a real mess. There you go. Keep walking it out. Good. Okay, get it all the way to the tip. Okay, and this is why we put that slack in the lines, so we wouldn't be moving those. So we can open that wing up without dragging and tumbling those. They're still in the same spot they were. Okay, there you go. That's good. Okay, now if you wanted to, so what he's done is he's got it kind of open this way from front to back rather than just open. So it's not rolled up like a cigarette because we need to have it flat like this for the next thing to work. So he's going to come back here and grab his risers, always picking the risers up by the very end, by the connection points where you connect the wing to the carabiner, right in there. You always pick them up with that. You don't reach up the line and let the risers swing through the lines and get tangles. Now he's going to center up with his center cell, and he's just going to vibrate his hands. And now you shake him just like tug, 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 tug. Yeah, like that, just like that. And as he walks out, what happens is he puts stress on the lines and they are allowed to slip off the other lines. We're just trying to set our wing up for the launch. We want to make sure all the lines aren't tangled. There's no tangles in it. So keep dragging, keep dragging. Of course, you see the wing rolling up. That's okay. That's okay. But see how the lines are all sliding off of each other from the little tugs? And so now he can see if there's any sticks caught in there, if there's any tangles. He's even checking his lines to look for maybe any abrasions or lines that maybe got caught on a rock or something from his last flight and maybe needs repair. With my way of doing this, you have chances to spot problems, and it's almost like safety checking your equipment. Okay, so now he's going to do what's called the Statue of Liberty. Once he realizes that, he's going to raise this. No, you don't have to walk in. You want that tension on there. So what he did was he grabbed just the A-lines there, and he's holding them above his head. We call this the Statue of Liberty because he's holding them above his head. I usually grab right about there. Instead, I grab right by the main lines. There you go. And we're just trying to see that the A-lines are clear. And so there's no lines hanging on them. We can see that if there was, we can just reach in with our other hand, and we pull it. We don't try to flip it over there like that. There you go. You just pull it. You don't try to, yeah, there you go. Okay, so the A's are clear. And then what else do we check while we're back here?
Check the trimmer.
Make sure both trimmers are set in the same position. If the last time you flew, you took some of the torque out by extending one of the trimmers, or you speeded it up by wanting to penetrate some air and you let them both all the way out, when you're launching, you want to put them back to the neutral position. And you also want to make sure one's not on and one off, because when you go to launch, if you have one trimmer out and you have one trimmer in, one side's going to come up faster than the other side. And what's the third thing we check? So we check the A's, we check the trimmers to make sure they're both set in the same position, and then we check what?
Brake lines.
The brake lines. We want to make sure that that brake line goes right through that pulley and it hasn't wrapped around another line like that. Sometimes it can fool you. See it like that. So we want to make sure those are clear. If we don't catch that, we can pull a turn and it'll stay locked into a turn. And we check these trikes. We check this now while we're getting our wing ready and set to connect up to our trike. And then right when we get in the cockpit, we got the motor running, we got the throttle in our hand. The last thing we're going to do is grab our steering toggles, and we look with our eyes and we follow that line through the pulley, and we say right is clear. Then we look at the left hand, we follow that line from our hand all the way through the pulley. We say left is clear, and we're ready to go. Okay, he's gonna get his wing ready for setup and ready for connection. And so he's gonna walk in first. And the reason he's doing this is because we do a thing called the drag back. Okay, now gonna walk backwards a little bit, lay those lines down. There you go. You want to put this slack in here. So now he's going to connect up his motor. All right, so grab your motor. I'll pause it for just a second so we don't waste a lot of time here. Okay, here he comes. His motor's already warmed up. He's going to just kind of turn his Gen 4 FLY-POD. Beautiful machine. Look at that thing. Oh, sweet. And he's going to connect up his risers now. And when you did that, I would rather put this in here.
Okay.
So I'm not putting lines over it. There you go. Okay, so he's gonna. He didn't when he laid his riser down. Notice he laid them with the A's on the top, because the A's are going to be going for it. He doesn't just throw them down to the ground and have them twist and then connect it up, because then he'll have a twist in lines. Okay, he's connecting up his risers to there. He's going to hook up his A-line assist. The FLY-POD trike comes with A-line assist. This pulls the wing up for you. The other trikes, a lot of them don't have it, so the guys have to hold their risers in their hands. Along with their steering and along with their throttle. So with this, it gives you hands-free. You can give your wing input, and the FLY-POD has that in the form of these little tabs on there and these lines and hooks. And so it just pulls your wing up for you. Okay, he's going to connect up this riser here, and just the way that you're going to be hanging from it. See, he's got the A's in the front, and he's connected. He's connected there. He's hooking up his other A-line assist. Now, before he flies, and the reason we started with this so close to the machine with all that drag in there is because this is the key part about having a good launch. So what he's going to do now, when he undid his lines, or when he pulled the wing out of the bag and he set up his wing, he was already setting it in the direction he was going to take off. Okay, and three things have to be in line to have a really good wing: the wind, the pilot, and the center of the wing. If you have an imaginary access through that, if you watch my other video, how to launch a powered paraglider trike Captain Kurt style, lining those things up is crucial. So he went right to 3. So right now he's making a mistake. He did not check the wind. So what he does to check the wind, there he is, now that I corrected him here. This is our last chance to do a little finalization. You can grab a little grass, and he wants to see it coming right towards that front wheel. So, yeah, and sometimes we grab a little powder. So, you know, we trickle a little grass, and we want to see it coming right towards the front wheel. All right, so we're just practicing setup here. So we want to imagine that, okay, his wind is right there. If it was off this way, then all he does is move his trike over this way into the wind, and he gets 1 is the wind, to the trike into the wind, and then he goes back behind the machine, and he drags back, and he lines up the center of the machine with the center cell. So sometimes just adjusting your front nose, you know, a foot or two means you're going to have to move the wing about 6 feet to the side. Because that wing, when that wing comes up, if it's not directly into the wind, it turns towards wherever the wind is at. And when you're a newbie, that gives you failed launch instantly. Later on, you can get away with laying it out a little sloppy. Okay, so now he's doing what's called the drag back. He's lining, first he went side to side to line up with the center of the trike and the wind. And now he's dragging it back until all the A-lines tighten up. There they are. And now he's going to establish his wing. He's just going to, everywhere there's a line, he's going to pull back. And he's going to start getting his wing into the shape that it's going to be into when it's flying. You will see all sorts of things. Now, don't pull your center off center. Let that sit there. We don't want to, we want that center centered with the trike, just like we're looking down gun sights. So there's our center cell, and there's the center of the trike, right down the middle. And now he builds his wing off to the side. And by dragging it back, it allows your wing to open up, so it's not tight and rolled up like a cigarette like this side. He hasn't done this side yet. So it allows it to, the air to flow into the cells real quick when he throttles up. And he's pulling back, and he's pulling until all the A-lines which go up to the nose tighten up. And the reason he's doing that is because when he throttles up, all of these open cells are going to tip up like that and grab all that air and inflate the wing faster because we have this wing laid back. All of these cells, like this one, the air's going to go in here, and it's going to fill that cell real fast because he laid it out, not like that side, but like this side, nice and open. It doesn't have to work hard to fill and inflate that wing. This is the best setup you'll ever find. It works more efficiently than any other setup. Guys are telling you to fold your tips and put it in a V formation and do all that. That's nonsense. You put the wing in almost the exact same shape with this nice arch in here, the way it's going to be when it's flying. What could be more efficient than that? And we dragged it back to finalize that we're directly into the wind. And so now he's going to pull his tip out, make sure there's no lines behind that. Okay, and now he's got his wing set up. Now take a look at that beautiful arch, just like when it's going to be flying. Okay, we're one step away from him getting in the machine. And one thing we always do, and let me, hold on before you do it, so I want to show people. You'll see how the lines are just hanging down. We're going to stick them in these line guides. We always start with some sort of line guides. On these we use zip ties, and some people have real elaborate things, but we want to just, we're not laying them on the ground by the trike. We lay them right in these line guides. But you see how these lines are loose right here? When he throttles up, the suction, there's air coming off the prop. That prop wash is going out, but the air around it is sucking in. And we don't want any of these lines to get sucked in. So all we do is what's called combing the lines. He's going to grab it with his whole hand, and he's just going to kind of put some tension on it and walk it out a little bit, and then go ahead and sweep those lines underneath. Okay, there you go, and lay it down. And that little bit of tension that he just put on there right now, let me walk back here and show you. That little bit of tension that he put in the lines right there will keep loose lines from getting sucked into that propeller when he gets on that throttle for taking his launch. And boy, I'll tell you what, when it grabs the line, it'll suck that whole wing back into here if you don't do that. And some of the people don't have a Fresh Breeze or the kind of equipment we sell. Now see, when you got a couple loose lines right there, he's just going to go back and check and stick them in the line guide. And now he has got a beautiful wing that's laid out exactly the way it's going to be when it's flying. The lines are nice and stretched out. There's no loose lines to get caught in the propeller. He's lined up with his wind. He's got three things in line now: the wind, the pilot, and the center of the wing. And that wing, when it comes up, it's going to be already centered. It knows that it doesn't have to turn in any direction. It wants to find the wind. So if the wind had changed direction, when that wing comes up, it just starts tracking where the wind's coming from. So if he was not directly into it, and let's say the wind was coming from 45 degrees, as soon as that wind came up, this side would come up first and start heading in the direction of the wind. Now, if you're an experienced pilot, you would already be giving it input. It's not the way it goes on your hand, sir.
Nope.
You're just testing me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You passed.
All right, there you go. This is what we do when you come in. We're just doing routine stuff over and over, making them do it. So when they leave here, it's second nature. There it is. So he's got his throttle in his hand. Next step is he's going to grab his steering toggle over here. He's going to put his two fingers on it. There you go. And I'm not real particular about this. Some people like to grab it with their whole hand. Some people have different throttle systems, but I like to keep things away from that kill switch. Okay, he's got both hands there, and he's got it. So what we always do is we always look with our eyes now at this point, and we follow this line through the pulley. We want to see that it goes through the pulley, and we say left brake is clear.
Left brake clear.
And then we look to the right, and we really want to do this, man. So we don't, and we see that one going straight through the pulley. Right brake is clear. Now we know that we're not going to have a lockout with our steering once we get in the air. And lockouts aren't fun. You pull a turn and you realize you didn't clear those, and you stay locked into that turn. And now you got to try to fish it through in the air while you're flying, or reach above the pulley and pull the line up so it comes out of a turn. The last thing you want to do is, if you pull the turn with a lockout on that side, is pull the other brake and make a turn to the opposite direction, because that could stall the wing, because it's equivalent to both brakes being pulled all the way. And depending on how hard you pull that one that you got lockout on, you could actually stall the wing that way. All right. So just for craps and giggles, yeah, go ahead and start it up. He's got the electric start. Oh, yeah. All right, and your hands would be above your head. He would throttle up, and then, of course, when he sees his wing, he's looking up, and then he would brake when he sees the wing. There you go, all the way down. There you go, right about ear level. Okay. All right, shut it off. All right, you shouldn't have to look at that kill switch when you do that. When you're coming in for landing, you don't reach over with another hand. You're actually going to use just any part of your thumb works. You don't have to get the tip on it. Just throw that finger over there. But this is what we did. We went through every guy here, and we just keep doing this. We keep doing setups. These knuckleheads are waiting. Nobody's flown yet. We've been here a couple days. We're kind of battling some crappy weather. But get you familiar with it. Get you familiar with the setup. How you enjoying it here so far, though?
Awesome.
I know we're getting a little bit crazy weather, but we're learning, aren't we? Well, guys, thanks for joining me. I just thought you'd like to see a setup. And so this is a little routine that we go through with the guys, and we just keep doing it over. We make them pack up the wing. We make them unpack it. We make them, braid up the lines, put it in, connect it to the machine, how to connect it, how to drag it back, teach them all that setup, so when they don't go, when they go home, they're not sitting there wondering, okay, what do I do next? We just make it a routine. Boom, boom, boom. Pull it out of the bag. Run the lines out towards the wind. Unbraid the lines. Separate the lines. And we just go through the whole routine. And once you do it, you don't even have to think about it. And if you want to simplify what we're doing here, we're putting a wing towards the wind and connecting it to a trike, but we just want to clear out the lines. That's all we're doing. We're just putting a wing behind a trike and doing the setup. But we want to make sure all the lines are clear, and we want it set up for success. And by laying it out this way, you're going to have a lot more success. Carver's Field is looking great, guys. Come on down and see me. We're still here until October. We got our fly-in coming up September 5th through the 9th. Everybody is welcome. You don't have to be a flight junkie. Anybody's welcome to come. We don't care what your skill level is or what your rating is. We don't go by that, and we all work together and help each other. So come on in, just camping on the field. The fly-in is free. You can come on in here, and we're going to do a couple little clinics, so little teaching clinics during the day to kind of help people that are new at it or just want to be refreshed. So come on in. Love to see you. Thanks for joining me. God bless.